Hey everybody, it's Dave. I'm back with another video. I know it's been a long time. I've been working hard on wrapping up Yooka-Laylee in the Kracklestone. I'm in the coloring phase right now, so things are quite busy. So I don't have that much time for social media content and producing YouTube videos in particular, which do take quite a while to make. But I wanted to jump on today in particular because I've just launched the pre-order store for Yooka-Laylee in the Kracklestone, and this is the Backer Kit pre-order store. So I wanted to jump on here and give you an idea of how it works and kind of give you a little guide through the store. So this will be a nice detailed look at the store itself, as well as talking about some of the items within it and giving you some information that might be useful if you do decide to pre-order a copy of the book. So the first thing is the address of the store is Yooka-Laylee book, no spaces, .backerkit.com. So that's Yooka-Laylee-book.backerkit.com. And the way it is designed is to sort of incorporate the Kickstarter logic into the store. So it does carry over things like the total funds raised and the number of backers and when it was funded. So these are details from Kickstarter, and it has the Kickstarter video here that you can watch if you want to. And the reason to show the funds raised is that it just sort of continues. So the idea is this is like a campaign extension. It sort of just extends the Kickstarter campaign and brings in new people and tries to continue to raise as much as possible before we go and do this first print run. Because as you get more books in this case, for making a book, the more you print at once, the lower the cost per book is. So it's important to get as many orders in before we do this first print run. But I'll talk a little bit about that as we look through the items. The other reason it's kind of cool to show the funds raised is that I did have a number of stretch goals during the campaign that we did not hit. And so this is another chance to try and hit those stretch goals. The next one is an 85K stretch goal where it'll have this very detailed making of section added to each book. So at 60K during the campaign, which we hit during the 30-day period, that added sculptural embossing and holographic foil to each copy of Yooka-Laylee in the Kracklestone, and so every copy is going to have that. So regardless of which version of the book you buy, it's going to have that on it. I do have a number of different iterations, one of which is not available in the Backer Kit store. Unfortunately, I did limit that to the 30-day campaign. I have gotten a few questions about that, but I'm really sorry. I have to stick with that promise and make sure that I'm not lying to Kickstarter backers and making something that I said was going to be an exclusive available later. So I do apologize to people who are looking to get that backer edition, but that is now no longer available ever, actually. So we're locked in there. However, the book is very, very similar. I mean, the interior of the book is the same. It's really more of a cover variant that is the backer edition. It does have gilded edges and a seal on the back that indicates that it's a backer edition, but otherwise it's the exact same book. So you're not going to miss out on any story content because you were not able to get the backer edition. That's really just sort of a way of saying thank you to early backers, and so I wouldn't stress it if you missed out on that. I do have two versions of the book available currently for new backers, and that is just the basic hardcover and the version with a ribbon marker that's added to it. So the featured item here is the one with the ribbon marker, and I have a little movie playing that shows you the cover, because this is the best way that I could think to demonstrate the holographic foil and embossing that you get on the book. Obviously, this is a render. This is not real. The book does not actually exist yet. Neither does anything on this page, in fact. All of these are renders. So bear that in mind, that these are previews of what they're going to look like, but I'm using these as blueprints that I give to the developer of each particular product, and then I can get a really accurate design that's going to be very similar to what you see here in the store. So this is pretty indicative of what the final product is going to look like. And then I do have kind of a straight up render of it here. And this shows what the ribbon marker will probably look like. Probably going to use a gold ribbon. I think that's pretty cool and will match the cover pretty nicely. And then I do have some page samples as well. Note that for some reason these are really low resolution, and I don't know why. I don't know why they're so low res, but they are. So if you want to see higher res versions of these, you can go to my Twitter page or Facebook. I think I have them up on there. I haven't uploaded them to my website, but I probably should do that, huh? So I do have a Yooka-Laylee section on the dreamprismpress.com website, so you can go there and visit and see some higher resolution versions of these pages if you like. So this is priced at $35. It is $5 more expensive than the base hardcover to include that bound ribbon marker. And as far as the other features, it's 120. This might actually balloon. I might be going up to 128 pages. The story pages themselves are going to range anywhere from 112 to 120. I'm not entirely set on that yet, but first of all, if we hit the stretch goal, I'm going to be adding a lot more pages for the making of section, but also the fact is I may need a little bit more room for things like the copyright information, the title, and I might have some additional stuff in there that I just need a little bit more room for. So it's going to be somewhere between 112 and 128 pages. It'll be no fewer than 120 pages, but the story content itself might be a little bit less than that. So this version has the ribbon marker, and it has a reinforced hardcover binding. This is great. It's going to make the book very durable. This thing's not going to fall apart, and it does have a Smythe sewn spine, which is really brilliant. This is an extremely durable and appealing way of bounding a book, because what you get is a book that opens flat or mostly flat. A lot of hardcovers, people who've been following me for a while know that I'm a real stickler for book quality, and a lot of modern hardcovers that I see, you pick them off the shelf and you open them up and they're glued. Basically, the block of pages is glued to the hard spine, and the problem with this is a hardcover book is not flexible like a softbound book. So when you go to open it, you get this really strict, rigid spine that doesn't really let the pages open all the way. So you end up missing some information in the middle if the book is not well laid out. And it's also just kind of unappealing, in my opinion, to have to really force the book open and try and stretch the pages out so you can get a good representation of the art inside. So a Smythe sewn spine is a nice, flexible, very organic feeling book that's gonna feel fantastic to hold in your hands. And as you get through the book, you're going to see all the art there is to see, including some of the double-page spreads that I have that really require the book to lay mostly flat. So anyway, just one of the many reasons I'm not planning on doing a softbound glued spine, because I don't want to lose that information in the gutter. Heavyweight premium paper is probably going to be 100-pound paper, so that's very heavy. The printer has informed me that that's pretty much the heaviest paper you can order for internal stock on the book. I don't actually know that that's true, but I'm going to take his word for it. Anyway, it's going to be very, very dense paper. It's not going to be like board, it won't be like a really thick paper that's hard to turn or be cumbersome, but it's going to be very, very thick paper that's very high quality and will just, again, it's all part of the fantastic feel of the book and just making sure that it feels like a very, very premium book. So yeah, we're probably going to be doing 100-pound paper for that. I have sculptural embossing and holographic foil. These are the added features from the stretch goal, as I said. Okay, and then like I said, there is another copy of the book that does not have the ribbon marker that you can get if you want to not pay $35. This is the same thing otherwise. Then we have the digital book, and this, I don't know what format this is going to be. I'm still figuring that out, but we'll have that in order. But you can get a copy for much less expensive than for much less money rather than the hardcover book. If you want to get the story and you just want to read it, and you have a reader that's capable of reading a digital book, this will be available. You should be able to read it on pretty much any system. If you want to open it on Windows or whatever, you could use a comic reader on there. And whatever I use, it'll be a common format that will work for pretty much everybody. And if it turns out to be an issue, there's some format problem or something, we'll deal with it, and I'll make sure to update and distribute whatever format makes the most sense for everybody. So there's that. And this is a really cool item I'm very excited about. This is an enamel pin. It is a soft enamel pin. Now, don't let that fool you into thinking it's actually a soft material. It is metal. But the thing about soft enamel pins that I think is so cool is that they basically have these recessed color pools. Okay, so the way it's made is they use a mold to cut out the shape of the line art, right? Or it's sort of elevated, right? And so they have these recessed areas that then receive the color, and they sort of just pool in there. There are some cool videos on YouTube if you want to check out how this is done, how a soft enamel pin is made. But basically they fill it with this flat color, and then you get the tactile feel of the line art and the sort of recessed color pools. And I think that's really neat. It gives it a very tactile feel. It makes it really special, and I love it. Hard enamel pins are cool, but they're totally flat, so there is no recessed, or I should say elevated line art like that. And so I think the elevated line art adds something really special, and it sort of has this nice shimmer to it that I've tried to indicate here in this concept render. And your pin will include a backing card like this. The pin itself is going to be, I'm planning a 2-inch pin. I was going to go as high as 3 inches, but then after thinking about it a little bit, and weighing a 3-inch pin, by the way, is quite heavy, it'll really drag whatever you put it on. So if you wear it on your shirt, it might cause damage to your shirt or tear through the fabric. So I thought a 2-inch pin is probably the biggest we should go, but it's still an oversized pin, and so this is really cool. It's not a little dinky pin that is like a 1/2 inch. This is a pretty big pin here. And another very cool feature that I'm planning to add is a magnetic clasp. So with pins, you have the option to use a different type of clasp, and there are actually a number of options like butterfly, or where you sort of pinch the little metal clasp together, and you can pull it on, or there are types where you have like a rubber cover for the needle. But the point is you still have this pin needle sticking out the back, and that was something I was always a little concerned about for packaging, because I do have to ship all the stuff together to you in one package, and I'm worried that if I have a pin that has this sort of even though the pin is covered, if it's sticking out and it's abrasive and it's a hard material like that, it might scrape the book or damage some of the other materials or whatever. So with a magnetic clasp, it's actually flat, and it won't damage anything. So it sits in the package pretty flat. It doesn't add much dimension to the package. And also, I think a magnetic clasp is better, personally, because it lets you stick it to things without having to damage whatever you're putting it on. I mean, if you have like a backpack that you want to put the pin on, you can use, it's a very strong magnet, so you can stick it to your backpack, and you don't have to worry about puncturing a hole through the pack. So that sort of concern is something that I've thought about with the pin, and I like the idea of a magnetic clasp. If it doesn't end up making sense, I'll probably test it a few more times. I might change the type of clasp, but as of right now, it's looking like a magnetic clasp is the way to go, and I do feel that will get the best quality result. Okay, moving on. Here is the character art print pack. So this is a set of postcard size character prints. They're probably going to be 4 by 6 inches. Which I think is postcard size, and they're very nice. They're on a thick paper. They look great. They're going to be very colorful. I've had prints made in the same way before, so I've been able to test that out and see what they look like, and they're really cool. Think of them as like a super premium trading card that's oversized. That's kind of what these are like. So they're not too big. You're not going to be stuck trying to figure out how to display these things, or what really ends up happening with people, I think, is that they buy these kinds of things and oftentimes they just put them away in a closet somewhere. So they're not gonna be too big. You could actually even slip these into the book if you wanted to, and so they're a pretty good size for what they contain. So there are 10 characters from the story, some of which are original, some of which are redesigns from the game, and they are the designs that I'm using in the book. So these are pretty. These are custom for the book itself. So if you like any of the redesigns, this is a great way to show your love for the characters and get a pack of them all at once. All right, moving on. This is a bookmark, pretty straightforward. This, like the others, is not a totally guaranteed final design, but it's going to look pretty similar to this. Pretty straightforward. It's a bookmark. It's going to match the style of the book, and you can, if you don't get the bookmarker, in the book. This is another way that you can get a bookmark that will match the style of the book. This is probably the kind of thing that I'm going to offer with just about every book that I do. I'll probably have a custom bookmark for each book. So if you want to sort of collect everything that Dreamside has to, or Dreamprism has to offer, Dreamside is my original story that's coming out later. So I'll probably have an original thing like this amongst other ancillary things like you see here for every book that I have. So if you want to collect it all, here it is. Here it is. Here's your chance. So there's a bookmark. This is the collectible Crackle coin. This is a metal coin. I don't know for sure what type of metal it's going to be. It's probably going to be polished bronze. So it's a really high quality metal. I think it's going to be that, or it might be brass. I think brass is actually more expensive to get than polished bronze. But I'm not totally set on that, and that's why I didn't put the type of metal here in the description, because I didn't want you to be disappointed if you did not get, if the coin wasn't exactly what I described it to be. It is double-sided embossed, and on the Kracklestone side right here, it is going to be probably a sculptural emboss. So just like the cover of the book, you're actually going to get a tactile feel of the art. And on the other side, it's probably going to be like a single or multi-tier emboss. So if you do sculptural embossing, which is very expensive on both sides, the coin has like a base cost of almost $2,000 before you even get the cost per coin, because they have to make molds. And I'm going to have to pay something close to that anyway. But the point being that this is one of those high-risk items, because if you don't sell enough of them, it ends up costing more money to produce than you actually end up making. So that's one of the reasons I included this in the $75 tier, is because I figured that, you know, we'd get a few more backers at that tier, and it would guarantee that I have at least, you know, orders in the quantity of 100 or 200 to justify the cost of getting these produced. So the more of these I sell, the better, because the cost really goes down per item the more you sell. So there is the Crackle coin. This is a signed book plate. Now, I have to explain this a little bit, because a lot of people were wondering why I was doing a signed book plate instead of just signing the book. The reason is because of how I'm handling distribution of the books. In order for me to offer international shipping at a reasonable rate, I had to do a dual warehousing situation here. So basically, a portion of the books, all the books that are shipping to US and Canadian destinations, are being shipped by me personally. And then every other location is going to be shipped from the UK. So I have a fulfillment partner in the UK who's going to be sending your items out if you're international. So in order to avoid bloating the shipping cost even more, I didn't want to have all the books palleted and shipped to one location and then broken up and then shipped again to the UK and then shipped again to you. It just ends up costing a lot of money. So instead what happens is the books are being printed in the US, and so I will ship them directly from the printer, which is based in Tennessee, and some will go to me and some will go right on the boat to the UK. So because of that, I don't actually have access to all the books. So there's really no way for me to sign the books. Now, one idea that I had pitched this to the printer, and it was something that he confirmed that I would be able to do, but with some risks that I'll explain in a minute, is that he can send me an actual page from the book, and I could sign the pages. So it basically would be a box that has, you know, one page for every book, and I would go in and sign the page, and then he could bind that page into the book. So that's really cool. The problem that he explained to me is that it's a bit risky, because both the sign page and the book itself might get damaged in the process. And that bothered me for two reasons. One is I don't want to end up damaging books and then have to pay for more to be made. And secondly, I don't want to run the risk that damage will be incurred without us even noticing, and then you'll get the book and, you know, something will be wrong or it'll fall apart or something like that. And I just don't want to risk that. So I thought, I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to offer something separate for people who want a signature, and you know, this way you can get something that can be bound into the book. So it will be the same thing as if I'd signed the book. Just stick it onto the book, and there you go. You got the signature on there, and then you also have a book plate that looks kind of cool, and you can use it for something else if you want to. But anyway, this is basically my compromise option for how to get the book signed without me literally having to fly down to the printer and stay there while I sign, you know, hopefully thousands of books. So there's that. Okay, this cloth map is something really cool, but it is very challenging to produce. it wouldn't be if it was just doing prints on fabric. You can order fabric with custom prints. You can even order really nice canvas fabric like this. But the problem is you have to cut the prints out, and in the process of doing that, you're dealing with fabric, so you're going to get threads and things that are kind of sticking out, and it's very easy for it to wear down over time, and I don't want to just have an exposed unsewn edge. Now, you can stitch the edges, but that requires special equipment, and you'd be surprised how many companies I contacted to make one of these where they would also stitch the edge, and everybody could sort of do one or the other. It was either they could do the prints, but they can't sew the edge, or they can sew the edge, but they can't do the prints. And when I started pricing it out, what I learned is that the cost to be able to get these printed, cut, and then sent to a place that can sew them turned out to be more money than even this, pretty much, to be able to get that done. So there was no way to sell this for any way that would not just end up losing money. However, I do have another solution I'm not going to elaborate on, but it does involve literally hand stitching this bias tape border around the map. So what's cool about this is each map is actually handmade, and so there's a lot of love and labor that's going into this from some very kind people who are helping me out. So when you order a cloth map, you are definitely going to be in an exclusive club, because we're not going to make a ton of these. And so if you want a really cool, very rare collectible, this is the time to get it. Go ahead and order a cloth map and add it to your Dreamprism collection. And then upon recommendation from BackerKit, because I had this in here, I thought I'd leave it, is a tip jar, so you can send tips if you want. BackerKit does not have the ability, I think, to write in a price, which is why they make you select. Basically, it selects an item is how it works. It's a little bit strange, but whatever. You know, if you want to support the company and donate, you can do that using the tip jar. Okay, so that's a look at the store. And if you have any further questions, if you wanna order something, and maybe I haven't covered something either in the campaign description or in today's video, and you have further questions, you can always contact me. Go visit dreamprismpress.com, and I have a contact form on there. You can reach out to me anytime. You can always tweet to me, and I will respond. You can leave your comments below as well, and I respond there. On the other hand, what you can also do is, if you are a backer or you want to be a backer, you can go and to the top of the page, it'll say need help here. You can click on that, and that will bring you to an FAQ that will answer most commonly asked questions. And there's also a BackerKit FAQ that just, it's not specific to my project, but this is just how BackerKit works. You can access other details like shipping updates. Here you can see that I have a lock date of June 2019. That means that I'm collecting orders until June 2019, and then they're locked, and I will not accept orders after this date. I may, however, accept orders after this date, but I'm not sure about that. So we'll see. We'll see if I end up overprinting the stock of the book a little bit, so I have some extras. But what I don't want to end up doing is printing exactly what's ordered and then have to, get like 10 more orders and not be able to fulfill them because I can't do a print run of 10 books. So the shipping estimate is July. There's always the chance that this will end up changing a little bit. I might end up delaying a little bit, but it's not going to be like your typical Kickstarter where, it's like a year late. That's not going to happen with me. So you are going to get your books very close to on time, if not on time. And if you still have questions, you can click this button to contact, or you can go down here to contact us here. You can put your email, and it has some suggested questions. And if your question is not listed here, just click on I have a question not listed here, and then you can write in your question, and it will be submitted to BackerKit. And what's cool is they have a system where they will address your question. This is very helpful for me, so I'm not constantly getting distracted from production on the book. For issues that can be fixed by BackerKit, they will address your question, and if it's something they can't answer, they will pass the question on to me, and I'll be able to answer you directly. So there you go. That is basically how it works. So I do hope that you will consider supporting the project, and if you're going to order the book, I recommend you doing it now. I recommend you do it now, because there is no guarantee that I'm going to be doing a second printing of this book. So this might be your only chance to get a copy of this book, and I do think this is something that is going to be a very cool thing to have 5-10 years down the line. It is a rare sort of first book made by a brand new publishing company, and I think that's really cool. It's a cool thing to have. It's definitely going to be a piece of memorabilia from Dreamprism, so if you want to own a piece of the start of this company, here's your chance to get it. The other thing too is if I do another print run, there's always the chance that I'm not going to do the same hardbound collector's edition that I've got here. I might end up doing a less expensive softbound copy that I can produce in greater quantities, and maybe if there's more interest out there to buy the book, I might offer a cheaper edition. So the hardbound may be a first printing only option. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case, but all I'm saying now is I don't guarantee that you're going to be able to get the book. And as evidenced by the fact that post Kickstarter, I got questions from disappointed people who wanted a backer edition. I'm just going to say the same thing again. If you don't be left out in the cold. If you miss this opportunity, you may not be able to get a copy of the book at all, and in the hardbound edition that is coming in right now. So this is your chance, and you have basically until the end of June to place the order. So I do hope you consider supporting my very first publication under Dreamprism Press, yeah, I hope I see you as a backer. So again, if you have any questions, reach out, leave your comments below, and hit that subscribe button. You get some updates as things move along. And of course, if you do become a backer, you will also receive Kickstarter updates because you will be included in the backer community. So that's great. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.